That's stupid.
So it goes like this. Austin and I have been married for a little over 2 years now. All the time, I have never had any reason to doubt his sexuality. He never did anything utterly suspicious. He was a normal masculine guy who enjoyed his
Mm.
sports. Not football, but tennis. First strike.
Okay.
Strike
Yes.
one, strike one.
Yes.
And never underperformed in bed. They typically don't. Well,
Hmm.
maybe I shouldn't be the perfect judge of that because I'd usually preferred sexual activity short, simple, and stress free. Lesbian.
Okay.
Um,
Right.
and because
Okay.
There is a lesbian.
we just discovered something about yourself.
Right.
Because and because I was completely sexually attracted to him, I've never had any reason to complain of him not satisfying me sexually. There were
So only
times,
ugly people gay to her?
thank you. There were times he gave excuses why he didn't want sex, but he always made up for them in the coming days or weeks. Okay. That's typical. A lot of people don't want sex all the time.
Yeah.
When they getting it somewhere else?
Or you gotta be sometimes you just gotta be in the mood.
Speak for
Yeah.
yourself.
You
Like
do just
today,
gotta be in the
like
mood.
today, I'm not in the mood.
Well,
I guess everybody don't need to know that though, but I'm gonna do it anyway.
Retweet.
well, they better
Okay.
hurry up and let them know.
He was sometimes travel to stay a day or two for business, but this never caused an issue. I mean, it's normal. It's normal that normal working adults would sometimes stay away from home, isn't it? Yes, I travel often. I'm just now beginning to realize that because there was freedom of movement then, he could go anywhere he wanted and hang out with anybody he wanted.
Duh.
But that doesn't necessarily mean that that's what he was doing when
Right.
he was traveling. Or
Right.
Right.
he could have been hanging
Business
out with
trips.
coworkers or something like that.
Yeah,
I hang out with
business
coworkers a
trips.
lot.
You sounded
Right.
like somebody that sleeps with somebody's husband right now. That's what
Oh.
that sound like. You taking up for him.
No, but that's real.
But that's real. That's life. I'm not going to
Yeah,
deny
like I
what
could
you
be
just said,
scouting
but
for like a new home or something in a whole different state. Like.
I'm not going to deny what you just
Can y'all
said,
hear
but
me?
it's like,
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, great. Wonderful. Okay, go ahead. Finish reading the story, Monty.
okay, hold on. Let me fix my hair.
He's a
Oh.
home wrecker.
Readjust my bonnet.
He's a home wrecker.
Hold on, I can't see the light. But I guess with the recent lockdown law and its intended restrictions of movement, he was obviously helplessly stuck with me in the house for a whole 14 days. This meant I had enough time with him to notice things I previously might not have been noticing, like the strange calls, for instance. Someone would call him someone I was sure was another man, and they would be on the phone for a really long time, not talking business or sports like most guys, but personal
Mhm.
stuff like when the last when last either of them had sex and things like that.
Mm.
Strike two.
That is a strike. I would give that a strike, but
Yes.
not necessarily. Especially if it's your best friend.
Oh,
Mm, I don't know. No such thing as
Men talk
that.
about sex.
Yes,
That's
they
not
do.
I
unusual.
mean, they do, but I
I don't know if
mean,
they talk about when the last time you had
that's
sex,
what I'm
but they'll
saying.
probably talk
Yeah,
about the
Yeah.
girls
that
that
you
they
talk
You
about
they
asking
it.
them.
If
smash.
that's your
But you,
if that's your
Yeah.
friend and you're not sleeping with
but
them,
if
you
the
talk
question
about
if
it.
the question was when was the last time you had sex, and he knows who you were having sex with outside of your marriage, that's something you would talk to with your boys.
Yes. Yes. That's true.
Yeah, you
That's true.
would.
That's true because I had those conversations all the time.
Right. Okay. So I'm gonna
I
continue.
have them
So
all
that
the time.
that still wasn't that was a red flag on her thinking, okay, you are being cheated on, but not that he's gay. Okay.
Right. Right. Right.
I mean, I guess it's how it's presented and how it goes.
See, this is her talking, so this is why it's presented this way.
Okay.
I could tell he did. I could tell he too didn't find discussing those topics with a fellow guy utterly normal, from the way his voice always remained muted while on the phone. Still, I
Mm.
Hmm.
never cared that much about the phone calls. We are dealing with a pandemic, and it
Hmm.
is enough to put people off their normal behavior. I thought to myself. I
Mm.
also then noticed that my husband was finding it difficult to keep up in the bed.
Mm.
Just,
Oh,
but that's
okay.
because she was on. That could be because she's on that thing where we're quarantined in the house. We supposed to have sex every day. Where you saw that on Facebook and you think that's supposed to be real life, imitating real life. That's not true.
Right,
No, it's not.
Sometimes
It's
you
not
got you
true.
need a
that's not
break.
No,
everyday life,
it's not
but
normal.
She
it
keep
would
Mm-mm.
be
coming every
nice.
time he turn around. She's standing in the doorway with the lingerie on. Bitch, I'm gonna set your ass on fire. So,
Okay.
I mean, with this whole lockdown stuff, the need for sex and intimacy sort of rose up. My girlfriends, look, see here go. My girlfriends, some of whom are also married, tell me how they have been doing nothing else other than sex and sleep and watch movies with their partner. No, see, this is what happens.
But that's
Did
what
y'all?
that's in their relationship.
Right, right,
Right.
and they lying because they not having
Yes.
sex that much. Calm
No.
down.
She could
No.
be single.
But if you look on social media now, everybody's naked.
Everybody's actually
So
thinking they having sex, but they not. They just naked. They hot. That's
they just
all.
Right,
naked.
right,
You know,
right,
yeah, they
Turn your
hot as
right,
heat
hell.
down,
right,
bitch.
Yeah.
You
right,
nasty.
right.
That's what I'm talking about, neighbors.
Oh, was you talking to the cat? Like
That was
what's
the inside
happening?
joke for outside of the show. We was talking about that before we got started. Turn your
Oh,
heat
okay.
down, you nasties. As a smart woman, I played things cool and avoided raising any suspicion or argument
Cause she ain't want to be
Mhm.
alone.
until that
So
night.
the- Mm.
I had overheard my husband tell his caller on the phone to call back in like an hour. I quickly realized that was the time he hoped I would have been asleep. So I gave him what he wanted. I slept off early, snoring away in feigned oblivion. Look how she put that, in feigned oblivion.
See,
I
she
knew
extra. That's why.
I knew when my husband crept out of the room and entered the guest bathroom. I waited some time before following
In the
him.
bathroom.
Look, she's setting him up instead of just being an open woman
Yes,
to
she is.
asking him if he had anything going on. That's part of the problem. That's why
But they
people
could have
keep
lied.
secrets though.
Hmm.
Yes.
Um,
Yep.
okay, so she locked in.
She
And
went
there it was,
behind.
all bare. My husband was in the middle of his steamy sex chat with one dude like that. Um, they were showing each other their erect penises and
Friends do that.
and button.
Oh, what friends? What friends do that?
Friends do that.
What friends do that? Okay.
Friends do that.
Oh my
that caught me,
God,
that
Nate.
caught me completely off guard.
Oh my God.
They were showing each other their erect penises and naked butts. And the man from the other M was telling my husband what he would do to him immediately once the lockdown was over. He told my
Oh,
husband he was going to eat his ass, and my
Oh,
husband replied, "Yes, baby, yes." Oh, he didn't say it like
oh,
that.
Gucci.
He didn't say it like that. I can make that up.
Gotcha.
He told my husband. He told my
Thought
husband
you had a
he
friend.
was going to give it to him hot and deep. Ew,
Mm-mm.
hot and deep. What are you going to put some
hot and
lighter
deep.
fluid?
Hot and deep.
Now
Light
you gonna get that? What was that? Not Bengay. What's the other one?
icy
Icy
hot.
hot.
Icy
Yeah,
hot.
icy hot.
And
The
he
What's it
said,
called?
icy hot
he said he was
bats.
going to give it to him hot and deep, and my husband replied, "Damn, baby." He then said, "You will spread it
Okay.
wide, yeah." And to this, my husband screamed in ecstasy, "Oh, damn it, Alex!"
Oh
See, it could have been a female though, Alex.
no. Mm-mm.
She
She
just,
said,
No,
"Dude."
no.
She said,
she could have had a
"Rex
deep
penis
voice.
is just no. Mm-mm, not with a Rex penis."
Nah is on it.
in the morning, I confronted my husband. He wanted to lie at the beginning, but then he opened up and told me the truth. What are we going to do now? I asked him. Can we at least wait till this coronavirus thing is over and we know if we are alive or dead? He said.
Well, you're alive right now. We can let that go.
I
Yeah.
wonder. So my thing about that is all right. So she asked him about it. So what was the conversation about? Like what did she ask him? Like because I know typical women ask, but do you love him?
Mm. And
I've seen that.
have you slept with
All
him
the dumb
I
questions.
mean,
before?
I've seen that
you
happen
can't
before.
you can't. I mean, at the end of the day, if something like that happened to me, I can't compete with a man. I'm sorry. I'm just gonna
No.
let it go.
Right.
I'm just gonna let it go. I can't. I'm not.
But is it
Can't.
that easy when it's your husband? You've
I mean,
already
no.
committed.
Yes, it's that easy. Look, you like to get down with the girls, and that's cool. That's good for you. I can't be with you no
What
more.
if he what if
There's
he
no
say one of
counseling
these?
that's gonna fix this.
What if he says one of these? Ooh, I didn't know what to tell you.
Then I would be like, oh well, goodbye.
Yes, thank you.
You had
I'm
plenty of
gone.
time. We've been in here for 14 days. You had plenty of time.
Gone.
I don't want to hear
Exactly.
that. I wasn't good
Exactly.
enough. You crept on while I was pretending to be asleep. Like,
Oh.
no, you gotta go.
He
Well, he didn't
Nate, you
want
disrespecting
kind
to.
of
everybody
He didn't
going
quiet.
want
in
to
his house.
disturb you. He didn't want to be like jerking off while you were asleep. Like that
Oh
was.
my
Right.
God, Nate. Don't
What
ever
you
get
thought they
married,
was
Nate.
in there doing?
Every,
They
but
was jerking
still,
off
like,
in there.
you could have waited 14 days.
I'm gonna throw something at you.
It's
As
doable, but if
Monty
he was doing
disciplines
it,
his ass.
if he was doing it before you went into the quarantine, you being in the quarantine only gonna make it like heightened
It's gonna
for that
bring
person.
the truth to light. It's gonna bring the truth to light.
Yeah.
So at some
But what?
point, he
All
had
right, so
plenty of time
put
to tell
yourself
her.
in his shoes. All right, put yourself in his shoes. Would you take that risk?
No,
To do it.
Would you take that risk in doing that
no,
in the bathroom
no,
while
not
your
at
wife's
all.
No,
there?
Not where my
no.
wife was at.
I
I would
No,
have
mean,
went to
no,
the basement,
Who's
to
to
the
say he
car,
hadn't done it
something.
no.
before? She only recognized him being in the guest bedroom, bathroom this time. Who's to say he's never did that before? If he was
Right.
that comfortable to
Yeah.
do it during a quarantine, he's done that before.
that's my point.
Right.
But like,
Right.
why would
Right.
you take that? I don't. I never understand
Right.
the stupidity of some people.
But
If
she
you
wasn't paying
are,
attention before, though.
and
Right.
if you
She
are
wasn't paying
cheating,
attention.
but if you are cheating, why take any kind of risk
You're
in
right.
doing it
Exactly.
at
Because
Because
in,
the
you
in
point
doing
is
did.
anything
not
at
to
home?
get
Because right now,
caught.
especially
That's
if you're
the
not
That's
whole
in
point.
love.
Don't get
If
caught.
you're in love, I'm not taking that kind of risk and calling you
no,
with my spouse doing laundry right here.
Well,
Thank you,
no,
Bonnie.
Marty,
no.
Exactly. Exactly.
that's because
It's a
you're the other
respect
person.
thing.
You're always the other person. So you're not taking the risk.
Oh,
The risk is
Lord.
being taken
Is
for
that a
you.
I
spoon in
am
your
But
hand?
at
never.
the end of, he knew his wife's
Look how
patterns.
long that
Right.
spoon is.
So
Look how long that spoon
Yeah.
is. Everybody, look how long that spoon was. So you
that's
re-
when
It's
was
a
so
back
like,
remember when I said
scratcher.
it was a
look
bucket.
at it. That's the magic wand.
Remember when I said it
No, it's
was
a
a.
back scratcher. That's all.
Oh, okay. I was about to say. Remember when I said it was a
Lord.
bucket that he was eating the ice cream out of? Look how deep it had to go.
I deserved ice cream. I've been working hard. Don't do that.
Oh my god. And he ate it slow.
So I
Thank
always
you.
thought about that. Like, put yourself in their shoes. Like, I mean, but at the same time, if you already risked it by doing it in the first place,
But like you said, he probably already been risky because he knows his wife's patterns.
right?
So
So
he
Yeah.
what
knows when
is?
she
That's why
sleep.
I always wanted to ask somebody about that. So what was the pleasure you actually got out of doing that to another person? Because
Doing
if
what?
Doing
you
what?
doing the
Can't
cheating
answer
in the
that.
first place, to doing the cheating in
Doing
the first place, because
oh
They
you
me oh
wasn't
risk
I can
thinking about
you
the other person.
you
It's
oh
about
already
them.
risked it
yeah.
all. You already
I am a
risked it all. If you were in love with that other person, because that's what I'm saying. The question that she would have asked him is, "Are you in love with that person?"
Right.
But
So
I
you
mean, he
risked
didn't.
it
She
all
didn't
for
say,
somebody that you're
"Well, man,
already
I
in
you
love
love
can
with.
you."
cheat. You can cheat and be in love with the person. I've cheated
Right.
before and was in love with the person, and I never got caught. I never got caught, but I was in love with the person
So
deeply.
they may
Like
have
So you were in
been
love with the person that you cheated with.
no, no, no,
no.
no.
That's
I
what I'm
was in love
talking
with the
about.
person
That's
I was
her
cheating
question to her
on.
husband is, "Are you in love with that person?"
So I
Oh no,
mean, but
I
like
was
Lindsay's
never in love
saying,
with the other person.
he
The other
could be in
person
love
was
with
just
his
the other person.
wife and just
Right.
be he could just be a little, fuck boy on the side. You know what I mean?
And that's a different discussion. But I think
Right.
that's a different discussion if she can deal with it or not.
Yeah.
Right.
I couldn't deal with it.
I'm not seconding nobody. You're not about to be with a dude, a whole dude. No. And then because you're putting me at risk at the end of the day.
Well,
That's a whole nother
but you would
discussion
have been.
too.
That's what I'm saying. That's a whole other
Yeah.
discussion because you're still at risk if you would have been cheating with a woman. Because I
Right.
get what you were going with that, but you, it, the risk is the risk,
It is. You're
Yeah.
whether
right.
it's male or female. Um,
But how are you gonna catch something over the phone?
Nate, Nate, Oh my
But
God.
I guess her inkling is that they had already met in person before. That's what her thinking.
Yeah,
Her
because
inkling is
Yeah.
his
that
he
this has
had free
already
time
happened.
to be with
Right.
whoever.
Hopefully they met in person. You don't
But
know.
I get
He
what your
could have been
point
on the
is.
app.
Maybe they did not ever have the affair, and it was just an emotional affair over the phone and showing
Maybe.
penises.
Yeah.
I've had
Then
emotional affairs.
that's still another different discussion.
Yeah,
Would you
I've had
give
emotional
Would you
affairs.
give up your marriage over a phone affair?
Yeah.
No, hell
She
no.
said, "Yeah." Naya said, "Yeah." I heard her.
No, I mean I'm saying that I get what
No,
you.
no, I
No,
would not.
I wouldn't. Don't
No,
call me out.
no, I would not. I
You
definitely would
wouldn't.
not give up. I know, I would
No,
not.
So
because
would
it's
your
just
question be to that
it's just something for
person?
fun.
Would you, right? Okay, right. So would your question be to that person? Would you ever act on it if you heard your man in the bathroom showing his dick to another man, but he has never acted on his gayness besides that call? Would you end your
So
relationship over it?
that
But see,
reminds
A
me.
black woman can never answer this question honestly.
that you
So
know
y'all
what?
about to
I
lie.
can answer it. I can
No,
answer it
I wouldn't go lie.
honestly. That's a private conversation because it all depends on what kind of level of freak you
Right.
are.
Right.
Some
But
That
women
y'all was
are
I
really
agree.
adamant
freaky.
about it.
Some of us are really, really, really freaky and will accept certain things like that. There
Yeah.
are black women who will.
There
Right.
So it
are.
just depends on
Yeah.
the woman because I know black women now who are into seeing men be together
Mm,
and they're fine with they're comfortable with it.
yeah.
So
But
you can't
Yeah.
say that. You can't say that black women
for
don't answer
me,
questions honestly because
that reminds me
you
of the whole
know
Greenleaf
Mm-hmm.
situation when the dude was he had emotions for men, but it took him a while to act on it.
He
And when
couldn't
he
act on it.
finally
Right.
right, and then when he finally did, the wife had a decision to make.
Right.
Mm.
Right. That's the thing. Is
So,
it all falls back on whoever the one that's being cheated on.
mhm.
It all
yeah
falls
Mhm.
back on that person on whether they can accept it or not. That's why I always wanted to
Right.
ask that question though.
Because he even
Would
went
you
to
be
therapy
able
to
to
try to
accept
help
it?
with the emotions that he was feeling from men.
Right.
Because if that
So,
person didn't act on it, what's really changed
right.
besides somebody's sexual
This
proclivity to get off over the
yeah.
phone?
Yeah, cuz then it's like, do you still find me attractive? Cuz
I
are
mean,
you
she
yeah
she
a
And
was
see,
lot of
still
that's the
women
getting it.
problem. Like you'll never believe that he's not thinking about those things still. That's
Hmm.
the
right.
problem.
That will be a problem
But you
then.
never know
Every
that
time
now. Even if you never found out that this happened in the bathroom, in your guest
right,
bathroom, if
then
you
you'll
never
be
found out
going
this was
on.
happening in your guest bathroom, you don't know if that person has always been thinking that you were a man.
Mhm.
mm.
This whole entire time, he's having sex with
No.
you, thinking about you having a penis.
Wow, yes,
But eventually, I feel like
definitely.
it may come out one day. It just be like, babe, let's try to spice it up a little bit. Here, I brought a dildo for you. You know what I mean? So it
Hmm.
may come out at some
It
point.
don't start that way. It was like, come on, babe,
Miss Naya,
put.
you was telling a
It
secret.
don't ever start that way though. It don't start that way with with the dildo thing. It always
She
start with
was telling a
put
secret.
press my
I
button.
mean, but it just something.
It
You
starts
know,
with like press my button.
but
Oh no,
smack my
not
booty, like smack my butt a little bit.
wiggle,
Squeeze it. Just give a little
wiggle,
squeeze or
wiggle your
something.
take
finger.
me now.
Wiggle your finger. Push it. Push the button.
I
Yeah,
did. You set me up.
yeah, buddy.
She
Mm.
telling
That's
that.
where
Go ahead,
the
Naya.
conversation starts to
I
digress.
mean, I'm just
She
saying what
not
the
the
women want to
typical
say, but
Naya living on the
All
wild
right, you guys.
side.
I've
but you
enjoyed
got to
this.
realize who I be talking to every day.
Mm.
Lindsay.
Uh-oh,
Mm,
look, uh-oh.
mm.
Mm.
She that gave me. She inspires me. So
All right, you
Well,
guys.
they
I
say there's a
thank
lot of
you,
freaks out
and
there in Colombia,
Oh
though.
my
yes,
God,
they
They say
help
did.
there's
me,
a
with
lot of
Lord.
Yes,
Baltimore,
Oh
they
so it
my
ain't
did.
reached me yet.
God.
All right, you guys.